Hello again, this is Will Luden, your host with Revolution 2.0, a revolution of the heart, bringing you episode 375, financial literacy for our kids and for us. And I want to encourage you to subscribe and encourage others to subscribe with you. Financial literacy, like the rules for succeeding in life, succeeding with finance, are simple, straightforward, easy to understand, and hard to implement. And as soon as we say the words hard and we realize that we're expecting hard rather than easy, it becomes a lot easier because we know what we're expecting. And anything worthwhile and financial success for ourselves and for our kids, financial success is certainly worthwhile. And these rules are easy to understand and hard to implement. And that is the subject of today's 15-minute episode. Let's go right into the rules. Rule 1, make more money than you spend. Sounds straightforward, easy to understand, not always easy to do. Rule number 2, spend less than you make. Wait, Will, didn't you just tell me a second ago to make more money than I spend? Why are you now telling me to spend less than I make and calling it Rule 2? Because it's an important shift in focus. Rule 1, making more money than we spend, focuses on our earning. Rule 2, spend less than you make, focuses on our spending. Two sides of the same coin, usefully shown and shared as two separate rules. Rule 3, debt is a four-letter word. Never finance anything that depreciates. Cars, appliances, vacations, all those depreciate. Don't finance them. And no, I'm not saying don't go on vacations. I love vacations. Just don't finance them. And here, speaking of cars, here's a dirty little secret about car dealerships. They make the bulk of their money on financing, not on moving the iron, not on moving the four wheels out of the showroom. They make their money on financing. So don't finance anything that depreciates. But wait, Will, I can't afford a $35,000 new car or even a $20,000 good used car. Well, wait, save up $2,000 or $3,000 and buy kind of a beater car, something that runs, has a heater, and keeps the rain out. And then keep saving money until you can get that ideally near new car and pay cash for it. Because when you borrow money to buy things, to buy that car, you're going to pay back the principal and interest, and you're going to wind up paying interest on the interest. And Albert Einstein, genius that he is, said the eighth wonder of the world is compound interest. And when you pay interest on interest, compound interest works against you. But you can have compound interest work for you, and that takes us to Rule 5, pay yourself first. Every month, we all have bills that we all pay. Mortgage, rent, utilities. We know what the bills are going to be that we pay every month. The first bill that we pay, the first person we should pay, write a check to, transfer money to, is ourselves. 10%. Less if you can't squeak it out. But 10% if you possibly can. 10%, pay it to yourself. Savings and investments. And those savings and investments, they will earn interest on interest. And the compound interest, the eighth wonder of the world, will work for you and not against you. And here's Rule 5, delayed gratification. And this is probably the toughest one for me. I want that new thing. I want the improved thing. I want that new thing that does something for me that I really would benefit from. But we need to get out of that, I need this thing, I need this improvement, I need this new thing, and start thinking about make do rather than improve and get new. Delayed gratification is fundamental to any of the rules, fundamental to making financial success work personally. And ROI, return on investment, that's not just something that's applied in business. It's easy to understand how we apply it in our personal lives. For example, if we're going to sell our home, do we want to put in $25,000 to remodel the kitchen If we're going to get 35 or 50 more out of the house, maybe it's a good idea. If not, maybe it's a bad idea. The return on the investment isn't there. Do we need to fix up our car before we sell it? Again, a return on investment calculation. Pretty straightforward. Maybe the most useful place to look at ROI, return on investment in our lives, is in education. For example, funding college. If we're going to get a degree in, pick it, sociology from State University, maybe it'll cost it'll take $60,000 in borrowing student loans and $20,000 in cash that we have, our parents have, or that we're going to earn for those 4 years we're going to be in college. There's an $80,000 investment, 60 borrowed, 20 in cash. And then we can look up what the return was going to be on that $80,000 investment. We can find out in a half an hour, maybe an hour, but I doubt it would take that long. What is the return on the investment? In other words, with a degree in sociology from State University, what do graduates make? Do they get jobs at all? What do they make? What kind of progress do they get? And can they get work at all? What's the return on the investment? And while we're looking at that, let's look at something I don't hear spoken about very often when people talk about student loans. Because if we're going to school full-time, whether it's undergraduate or graduate school, we're not going to be making a full-time salary. So there's the opportunity cost of the time away from the workplace that we're in school. That's part of the investment as we look at the ROI of college, the ROI of higher education. And almost all of our episodes, I think almost all of our episodes have a key point. And today, the Brookings Institute is going to bring us today's key point. After years, volumes of research, the Brookings Institute is telling us there's three things we have to do, just three things we have to do if we want to have a 98% chance of not being in poverty and a 75% chance of at least being in the middle class. So what are those three things that give us those percentages? Thing number one is graduate high school. Thing number two is get a full-time job. Thing three is wait till we're 21 to get married and have kids. That gives us a 75% chance with those three simple things of being at least in the middle class. They didn't say go to Yale, go to work on Wall Street, and marry rich. Remember, the three things, today's key point, the three things to have a 75% chance of at least being in the middle class are graduate high school, get a full-time job, and wait till you're 21 to get married and have kids. And here's a fun little aside. We're talking about money. I don't know if you heard the expression, 2 bits. I'm going to throw in my 2 bits, or the old 2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits, $1, everybody for, in my case, Lakewood High School, stand up and holler. Or that, oh my goodness, I'm not going to try and sing this, shave and a haircut, 2 bits, dot, 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 that 2 bits. What are 2 bits? What's a bit? Well, back in the day, money was actually money. A coin would not only say it was worth $1, but it was worth $1 because it had $1 worth of a precious metal, silver or gold. And to make change, people would cut those coins into eighths and into 8 bits. And 2 of those bits would be a quarter. 2 bits is a quarter. And that's my 2 bits. We all have the personal responsibility of taking care of our finances, making our finances work, and teaching and helping other people to make their finances work too. And speaking of personal responsibility, the two main tenets that you'll hear about every week at Revolution 2.0, the two main tenets are, number 1, personal responsibility. Take it and teach it. 2, be your brother's keeper. The answer to the age-old question, am I my brother's keeper, is a resounding, ringing yes. There simply is no other answer. And whatever you do, financially, otherwise in your life, whatever you do it in love. Without love, anything we do is empty. So where do you stand? What are you going to do? Remember, it doesn't matter where you stand if you're not going to do anything. And you can take positive positive action today by subscribing and encouraging others to subscribe with you. This is Will Luden. We'll talk together next time.
You've been listening to Revolution 2.0. If you've enjoyed this stimulating, passionate, and relentless reasoning, we encourage you to get out there and do something. Follow Will Luden and learn more at revolution2-0.org.